Salam and hello everyone. Welcome back to the channel. I hope that you are all doing well. There are times where I get questions below some of my videos that are specific to hormones, and as I get these questions, I do answer them beneath the videos that they are directed towards. But I do know that some of you might have more in-depth questions on hormones, or maybe some like you want to know, high level, the importance of hormones. And that's what I want to do in today's video. I want to talk to you about hormones and some basic questions that you might have and some answers that I can help you with along the way. Know that there are 50 identified hormones in the human body. They include peptide hormones like insulin, or steroid hormones like estrogen. I know many of you women watching are familiar with estrogen, progesterone, and even testosterone. And then there are amino acid derived hormones like your thyroid hormones. Each one of these hormones has a unique role to play within our body. We need them for metabolism, growth, as well as immune response, mood, and reproductive function. So question number one, what is the most important hormone in our bodies? And our bodies, I'm specifically talking to women who are over the age of 35. Now, some of you might be thinking, yes, it's estrogen. Estrogen is the most important hormone in our body. And although estrogen is the queen bee of the androgen hormones, sits kind of hierarchy to progesterone and testosterone, to some people that is, I would actually say that through medical literature and in society as a whole, with our health matters, insulin is actually arguably the most important hormone. Now, understand that insulin is very important for regulating our glucose levels. It provides glucose, it provides us with our energy and our fuel source. However, if there is too much glucose within our bodies, it could lead to drastic, and I would say unfortunate series of events, such as being pre-diabetic and diabetic. So that's type 2 diabetes is what I'm speaking on. Without insulin, this hormone that's made by the pancreas, we can't absorb glucose within our body. So everything we eat or everything that's being released within our bodies for fight or flight mechanism, for example, we're seeing that this glucose tends to have detrimental effects if it's too high. When we have too little insulin in our bodies, it's life-threatening because it's the cause of type 1 diabetes. And then when we have too much insulin, that is an insulin resistance, it contributes to type 2 diabetes, as I mentioned before, obesity, heart disease, for example, as well as some other matters, which includes PCOS, or polycystic ovarian syndrome. Now, estrogen is important. I don't want to bypass talking about estrogen because it is important for, our brain function, heart, muscle, as well as bone function, which is all really important as we age as women. And we know that estrogen levels they actually decrease as we get older. There are estrogen receptors all over our bodies. And so with the decline in estrogen, we might be experiencing what many know as symptoms of perimenopause or the menopause transition, which I'm going to talk about a little bit later in the video. So in my opinion, based on medical literature, as well as how our society is faring as a whole health-wise, the hormone insulin is arguably the most important hormone of our body. Now, the second question I have is, what hormones should we get checked yearly or biannually? Now, some of you might already know that you get your insulin checked because of the risk for diabetes within our family or in our society, or with our eating habits, or with our, whatever pattern that we see within our life. It's always important for us to check for our insulin levels. The other hormone, which many of you might be aware of, or maybe not, is the thyroid stimulating hormone. It's a TSH hormone. So thyroid is important for regulating our metabolism, our mood, our energy. And when we have a dysregulation in thyroid, it can be very dysregulating. We need to be able to make sure that our levels are safe. And I'm going to leave a link to the normal levels as well as the low and the high levels of both thyroid and insulin if you are interested in that. These are the two main hormone tests, and any other hormone tests are going to be at the discretion of your provider. Know that the endocrine system is our hormone control center. So it's a network of glands and organs that makes and releases hormones, and they talk to each other to help our body regulate. There's a communication pattern that happens. I'm going to leave a really good link to a video that I talked about using Dr. Aviva Romm's book on hormones and female hormones, which really talks to you about her book really explains what hormones are and how they are really important for our metabolism in general. Now, depending on what you're experiencing at the moment, your provider might also request for additional tests, outside of insulin and TSH. So if you're having any growth or developmental issues, reproductive health issues, metabolism, if you're low on energy, or maybe you have mood or stress, or you're having sleep disturbances, then your provider might request other hormone tests. Third question is, do I need to check estrogen levels? This is a common question, especially for women who are perimenopausal or over the age of 40. Now, even if you're premenopausal, perimenopausal, menopausal, if you are still having a menstrual cycle every month, know that your hormone levels are going to fluctuate. Consensus from the Menopause Society states that if you have the hallmark symptoms of menopause transition, primarily the vasomotor symptoms of the hot flashes and the night sweats, then maybe we can test for estrogen. But it's most likely, if you're a candidate through a thorough patient evaluation, that your provider will start you on a low dose menopausal replacement therapy or hormone replacement therapy to some, with progesterone if you still have your uterus. Now, your OBGYN should be better able to help you navigate through that. And if you are unsure of whether or not your health provider is cutting it, I would suggest you go onto the Menopause Society, if you're in the US, or the British Menopause Society, to look for a certified practitioner who might be able to help you specifically with regards to your personalized medical information. Now, a lot of providers will not require you to take the estrogen level test. There are some kits, I think, that they are selling to, some private companies are selling to determine your estrogen levels, but honestly, with the fluctuation of the cycle, it's not 100% guaranteed. The fourth question is, do I need to get rid of plastics in my home? I know that some of you might be familiar with the call to trash your plastic Tupperware or plastic spoons and utensils or whatever like that, and that's valid because there was harm in these particular items that are kitchen household items that were found, and this is because of certain hormone disruptors such as BPA or bisphenol A. So bisphenol A is found in plastics, food can linings, and even paper receipts, for example. It disrupts the estrogen function, and so it's linked to reproductive issues, breast and prostate cancer, as well as, maybe early puberty and metabolic disorders. I would not say it's false. There's research that states that you should get rid of it. And so I would advise you to, yes, get rid of these. These are going to be trashed right after this video. I was digging through my house and I found these. I don't use them, but I do encourage you all to, go through your house, do an inventory of what you have in your kitchen and get rid of anything that might be a hormone disruptor if you can. It's not always going to be the case for a lot of us. We use plastic bowls and containers. We store our food in these plastic bowls and containers. We have buckets in the house. But I would say that when you are maybe buying plastic, look for the BPA free stuff. That's what's going to help you and you're getting healthy and staying away from hormone disruptors. Fifth question is, can I eat soy products to increase my estrogen hormone levels? And in this video, I talk about this specifically, but for now, I just want to say that soy is a plant-based protein that contains isoflavones, which is a naturally occurring compound classified as phytoestrogen. So it mimics the estrogenic activity in the body. It weakly mimics estrogen effects in the body. And what research has shown that you must eat 40 to 100 milligrams of soy per day for a long period of time, 6 to 12 weeks to see a little bit of effect, but maybe even over a year. And you must be consistent in eating soy to actually see some type of effect if you are, lucky enough to see estrogen effects. Some of you might not want to see the estrogenic effects because you have high estrogen or you're prone to high estrogen. And in this video, I talk about signs and symptoms of women who have high estrogen levels. So take a look at that and let me know if you have any more questions. So in a nutshell, soy can increase estrogen effects in the body, or it can mimic estrogen in the body, but it's going to take a consistent consumption of soy over a long period of time to see those effects, if any. And of course, everybody's body is different, so it may or may not have an effect on you. The sixth question is, what is the first thing I need to focus on to get my hormones on the right track? And this is an excellent question. So I want you to consider your exposure. Almost everything is exposure. So food exposure. What are you eating day in and day out? Are you watching your food? Are you monitoring your food? Are you ingesting whole foods, nutrient dense, rich foods that are good for your body? Now, that can mean every and anything, but consider your complex carbs, your protein, your low fat, water, things that are organic is hard to come by for a lot of people, not only because of cost, but for access. But also consider, how is your meat being raised and sourced? Those are important things that you want to consider when we're talking about food. Now, when we talk about environment, this is also very key. And I'm not just talking about what's absorbed through your skin. What's absorbed through your skin in terms of pollution or the sun rays is very important, really important for you overall. And I talk about this in this video here about trying to get, the adequate amount of sun exposure so that your vitamin D levels are going to be well maintained. But with regards to environment, you want to consider what's being absorbed through your skin and through your lungs, and how this is going to help or hurt you overall the long period. And then also reaction to stress. This is also environmental. What's going on in work? What's going on with your work life? What's going on with your home life? What's going on with your school life and your personal life? All of these things have an effect on certain hormones in your body, primarily cortisol, the stress hormone that I've talked about also on my channel. So it's going to be important for you to think about these things. Your environment and your food play top roles in how you're going to get your hormones back on track. So I do want to end this video here, and if you want to see other hormone related videos, because I think I've mentioned 3 already so far, but I have one more here that I think you should watch, specifically for women who are experiencing hormone imbalances and they don't know if what their experience is due to high estrogen or low estrogen. So I want you to take a look at this video here, and let me know what other questions you have. I do like to do a question and answer with you because it allows me to, dig a little bit into the research and provide you with medical-based or evidence-based, answers to some of these questions. So I do thank you for watching, and I shall see you in the next video. Take care. Bye.